We are back on KindaSound Radio with the Awakening Show with my good friend Colin Wyatt. Happy mind, happy you, baby. How are you?
I am very well, Giles. Lovely to see you again. And Happy Mind, Happy You does exactly what it says on the tin.
It's beautiful, mate. It's absolutely beautiful.
Mm,
There's a powerful thing in words, isn't there? There's a
mm,
powerful thing in the spoken word and the written word, and it's been like that for thousands of years. And I think that's sensible, isn't it? Just tell it like it is. Happy mind, happy you. Just delve into
mm,
that a bit more, Colin, because obviously some of the kind of sounders will know you. Maybe they're
mm,
watching this or they're hearing your dulcet tones,
mm,
and it's great that we are, a team of us now, I feel, back
mm,
behind kind of sound radio, back broadcasting about healing, about kindness, about the good vibes. But you
mm.
just fill us in, man. Like, you know, where does it come from for you? Happy mind, happy you.
It's all about making people as miserable as possible. The concept came. I was doing some brainstorming and just there were a few different ideas that were kind of floating around in my head, and and I was actually going to do something with a lady. I remember now that I was going to do this project with this lovely lady, and whose name escapes me. Otherwise, I would give her a shout out. But yeah, we're having this conversation, and I came up with these different names. And I was like, "What about this? That? Happy something or other." I said, "Happy mind, happy you," and she was like, "That one." I said, "That is the one that got me too." And it is about everything that makes you feel anything or make you experience comes from the mind. And
Yeah,
so if you are able to create like happiness and joy in your mind, everything else on the outside kind of filters through. It's like what you were saying about words, the power of words. And the way I understand it is the word is the first manifestation of a thought, because now it's out there. It doesn't have to be physical just yet, but it's now in the world, to be heard and experienced.
yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So, I mean, you've got different hats, right?
Heads.
Skills, different
I'm
skill.
like, where's all gummage?
You're like Wurzel. You're a bit like Wurzel. You're like a modern Wurzel. But I mean, a lot of people know you. It's almost like it's like Colin, the 432 hertz guy. I mean,
Mm.
I know a lot of people who they go, oh, he's that guy that's at 432 hertz
He's that
sound
weirdo.
healing. Well, I mean, crikey.
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember
it
when I
will be
bought.
weird to new people hearing it for the first time. It would be a
Yeah,
bit,
so just
what
exactly
on earth?
exactly what on earth, and I mean,
Mm.
I speak to musicians of some caliber who have no idea what you're talking about. So what do you mean 432? We're talking about 432 hertz
Mm.
as opposed to other tunings that are also available, shall we say?
Mhm.
But we've both found that using the 432 hertz brings a deeper healing. So
Absolutely.
you mean you're well known now for doing sound baths, and people
Mm.
love your sound bath. Juliet was at an event with you, this yoga retreat, and she said Colin's sound bath at the end was immense. And
Mhm.
because you're doing the 432, I know some people know the story, Colin. We've spoken about
Mm.
it
Mm.
on this show, a couple of years ago. But just
Mm.
for the new listeners, why 432 hertz?
Well, let's take it back a little bit further than that, right? And we go by the famous words of a guy called Nikola Tesla. And he said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And if we take everything back to like the most basic form, we're ultimately talking about frequency, light, sound, right? So, and it all has a frequent. Light has a frequency, sound has a frequency,
Yeah,
So frequency is the common denominator between them all. And your brain has a frequency. It goes through 5 different stages every day: alpha, beta, delta, theta, gamma. So these are all different brain states that your brain emits, and each brain state that your brain goes into on a frequency level, on a hertz level, depends on how conscious or unconscious you are. You know, when you're in your delta, I think delta is 2 to 4 hertz, I think it is, which you would think almost like your brain dead, but like it's a very low frequency. That's all it really means. It's just a very, very low frequency, but that's when you're in your deepest sleep. And then 4 to 8 hertz is when you go into theta. That's your dreamy kind of state. That's when you're just kind of coming out of things. So we know that frequency dictates how we think and feel and how present we are in any moment. Frequency holds everything together. We know that scientifically. It's what holds glass together. And you only have to see like when frequency can't hold itself together, like throwing a brick at some glass, as long as it's not brick proof, like it should smash. And if it shatters, it means that the frequency, it couldn't hold its shape anymore, its form, and therefore it smashes. So the frequency changes. And so understanding frequency, if we're made of frequency and our minds and our, you know, the whole concept of reality as we know it is made of frequency, then so would the earth be frequency. And when we look at like a leaf, and we take that into an electron microscope, we see that actually the leaf vibrates at the frequency of 432 hertz. It's the natural resonance of nature. And we've kind of lost that a little bit, where we've become a little bit disengaged from that, a little bit disconnected. And not because of where it's our natural evolutionary pattern of coming away from it, although all things come out and in, like breathing in and out. A lot of it's kind of been placed there covertly so that we're not aware really of what's happening, and we're uneducated of this stuff, that we're not taught this stuff at school, and yet it's the fundamentals of life and
Yeah,
reality.
yeah.
You know, it's like sod like, you know, the other little bits that might be kind of important, but like this is like fundamentals to life. It's like same as money. You know, you're going out there to learn to earn money,
Yeah, yeah.
but yet they never teach you what money is. So, you know, there's a lot of these fundamental principles that have been lost along the way in time. So we've naturally kind of evolved out of them. But we know when we are around them how we feel,
Mm.
and it changes how we feel mentally, physically, spiritually, even, and emotionally. And when people are enveloped in that 432 hertz frequency, they feel differently. Things about them change. They think differently. They sleep very well most of the time. You know, sometimes if they're not sleeping, it's because it's charged something. It's like something's coming up here. What needs to be worked on, right? But you know, we are nature and we're a part of nature, and so therefore we should also be resonating on that 432 hertz, just the same as they knew in Egypt thousands of years ago, even before.
It's fascinating, isn't it, when you take the size of the Great Pyramid, you
Mm,
know, and you
mm.
multiply it, 432, and you get the size of the Earth, and the sun is 432,000 miles in radius, and it appears so much throughout the world.
If you take the major sites, these ancient sites, they all actually equal to the Fibonacci sequence. And we know the Fibonacci sequence is that sacred geometry. And it's like having a snail shell. And as you see that curl coming out of the snail shell, like there's a natural pattern that happens, and it's mathematical. It's very predictable. And so these ancient sites all do that same thing. They go on that Fibonacci sequence. It's absolutely phenomenal. So we're looking at ancient sites, not just the Great Pyramid, but also Great Pyramids. Now we know that there are many more in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Once you can lift your eyes out of watching the Crossroads omnibus, I often say to people, we're at workshops and things, and I say, well,
Mm.
Juliet and I, it's great that we're doing this, because otherwise we'd just be at home watching Crossroads. And then people say, didn't that finish 30 years ago? I said, did it? Oh, but there we go. So
I'm far too
Colin,
young to know about that.
you're too young to know about Crossroads, mate. Probably most of the kind of sounders, I've lost them. So that's one hat you've got your sound healing, right? And
Mm,
people go, it's 432. It's the 432 guy. Because I
mm,
love it. Whenever you do your events,
mm.
you say 432 sound healing. It's not just a sound bath. You always putting that little bit out there, and people go,
Because
what's
all
that?
of my
What's that?
instruments, yeah, all of my instruments are tuned into 432 hertz. So when how you get to 432 is your tuning method, right? So it's basically your
Mm.
root note. So not every note is going to be 432 because it can't
No,
be,
no.
it'll be the same. But you have your root note. So let's say C is the root note. You tune that into 432 where it's resonating at 432 hertz, and then all your tuning then comes from that, and that's how it comes. I know
Yeah.
you know this, but maybe the listeners
No,
don't.
absolutely. I mean, and for an orchestral instrument like guitar, violin, cello, or something, you tune A to 432, and this
Yeah,
was what an orchestra they had to standardize what they would tune to, and they went to 440. But 432 is big time coming back, big time. Um,
yeah,
I mean, we got the old Unity album there. Look, I put it on the
yeah,
front cover, 432. So that's one thing you're known for, right?
yeah.
People
In
know
the
it's
ancient pyramids also mention about 43,200 being one of the diameters. I can't remember exactly what that was now. It's just escaped my mind. But
that's it. You
if you
you times
research
it
42,300, that's 432, you see, right there.
exactly. It is, yeah. And the amount of seconds in a 12-hour day,
Mm-hmm.
43,200, it comes up again. And so
Mm-hmm.
musicians out there, just tune your instruments, have a go. The other thing, Colin, that you're well known for, particularly more in recent times, maybe, is the cacao. And people,
Cacao. Yeah.
I was with Maxie from the Arc Shop, and she
I
goes,
know.
"Oh,
It's amazing. Yeah.
what? Yeah, big shout out. She's coming on the show
Yeah.
soon. She's coming on to tell us
Hey,
about what she
Max.
does.
Yeah.
What a lady, hey?
Yeah.
Do you know that guy? He lives in Sudbury. I can't think of his name. Come back to me. Anyway,
Mm.
let's talk about the cacao. Maybe I need a cup of the cacao, sharpen my brain. So this has
I've
been
just had
something.
mine.
Well, I think I need. I've been out walking. I've been out
Uh,
walking, and I've come in, and the
yeah.
boy wanted to play football. So I thought, okay, play football. And here we are,
Yeah.
broadcasting away. Now, I'm married to a chocolate goddess, shall we say, Juliet Bryant.
Absolutely, she is.
She's
Yes.
right into it.
Mm.
But just again, people Colin, who might not know what we're talking about here, what's the difference between, the cocoa that people have been brought up with? They've had
Hmm.
their dairy milk or their hot chocolate drink, whatever, and what you're into.
We can compare that. So let's do a comparison that people would understand. Imagine having a mini engine
Mm,
and having a Ferrari engine.
let's go.
The mini engine will do the job. It will get you from A to B. In fact, it's probably more reliable than the Ferrari one, but it's going to affect how quickly you get to your destination.
Right.
There's a lot of things about the mini engine that won't have compared to the Ferrari engine, just the performance aspect of it and just lots of other cool bits about a Ferrari engine. So that comparison is like that's the difference. The difference on more of a chocolate term is how it's been adulterated. So when chocolate comes, so when you get your cocoa, for example, it's absolutely obliterated with sugar, refined sugar most of the time anyway. It's roasted, and as soon as you roast it, you kill most of the stuff that's in there anyway. Plus, they separate the natural fats from it too, and the natural fats is where again most of the goodness is. So and this is what makes cacao butter. So once you've extracted that, you can't actually put that back together again. So some people would say, well, can you just get cacao powder and cacao butter? And no, it's already adulterated. It's already dead, basically. And so the difference between ceremonial grade cacao and cocoa is the fact that it's not roasted like that. They lightly roast the beans, very lightly, but only because you'll never get the skin off of the beans otherwise. But that's the only thing that they do, and it's very, very light. Um, and they keep all the fats in there. So you essentially have yourself a superfood. By weight, it's actually the highest content for magnesium
Mm.
in food.
Yeah, absolutely. So many. It's so complex, isn't it? I think it's one of those foods they're still learning about. It's not fully understood, though a
Mm.
lot more
You're
has
still
been.
learning.
They're still
Mm.
learning about the,
Mm.
the anandamide and the
Yeah.
all these things, the antioxidant profile
But
of it, and it
it
was, they
yeah.
they reckon that the what was it? It was the I think the emperor or something. Was it a Mayan or an Incan emperor? He was like banging it away because he had a harem of 200 women. He needed his nutrients. It might
Right.
just be a story. I don't know.
Well, I mean, cacao is the only food on the planet that contains anandamide. No other food contains it. And
Yeah,
anandamide, if you look at Indian Sanskrit, it means ananda means bliss. So basically, it's the bliss molecule,
yeah,
and it's the only food. We've not found any food that contains it except for in cacao. So, it works on neurotransmitters of the brain. So many amazing benefits that we've come so far in learning about cacao now with science, So science does have its place, what I mean? It's like it's important to get that because it's the only way that some people understand it in their way, in more of a analytical way. Um, and so, we're kind of bridging that gap so people can come across to it. And, I remember doing an event recently in a big pharmaceutical complex, which is obviously not my field of expertise and nor my field of comfort either. But I knew I had to be there. I was invited there and I knew I had to be there. And so many people were coming out. And actually, quite a few of them already knew about cacao, which
yeah,
was interesting. But so many new ones coming up saying, "Oh, wow, this tastes amazing. What's it?" And they're reading what's in it and they're just blown away. It's amazing.
yeah. That's the fascinating thing. And of course, you spent a bit of
Mm.
time with the main man, Liam Brown,
Yes. Yeah,
Full Power
that was awesome.
Cacao, who, basically, I mean, he tamed the dragons. He
He
charmed
literally
them.
did.
He literally,
Yeah.
on the old dragon's den.
He wrote them first.
Oh my God, he rode them. He rode them for a bit, and then he and then
Yeah.
he charmed them, and three of the dragons went on, and he's one of these people, and he's really, I suppose, like a hero. He's like a hero in the modern age because he's gone. Yeah, this is like a really good thing, and I need to take this to the people. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna
He had a
I'm gonna
vision.
I'm gonna
Mm.
go to the dragon's den. So tell us about what it was like, maybe some of his
Mm.
vibe rubbing off and his knowledge, and because he's like
Well,
he's the
Liam's
face of it,
like
isn't he?
Liam's like the most down to earth person you're ever gonna meet.
Yeah,
And certainly not afraid of swearing and it was just nice to be around someone that's like just he doesn't give a beep, you know.
yes, yeah,
It is what it is. Um and he makes no apologies for that either, which is great. But yeah, he had a vision and he saw what he wanted to do, and he heard the voice of Keith the Chocolate Shaman. So this is the guy in Guatemala who's now passed away, unfortunately, but he left a legacy in cacao. I think he was one really that kind of got it on the map
yeah, yeah,
properly. Like he was the one that really put it out there to lots of different people,
yeah,
and
yeah,
people were going to Guatemala to learn from him about cacao and just understand it and become familiar with it because not only is it just like a chocolate drink, there's actually the spirit of cacao that's
yeah.
in there. There's definitely something else that interacts with you when that's in there, and it's not just the chocolate. It's not just theobromine
Mm-hmm.
in there. There is another aspect to it that when you do it enough and you tune in enough and you give yourself permission to tune in enough, you experience that. And so Keith was able to do that, and Liam went over there to learn from Keith, and Keith made a prediction. He said by 2030, cacao will have made a massive impact on the coffee industry. Yeah. And I believe that's true. I believe that prophecy will come to pass. I mean, in the 1920s, we didn't have coffee then. We were actually drinking chocolate.
Yeah,
It wasn't even tea. We were having chocolate parties. Yeah, the aristocrats were drinking cacao.
yeah,
That's what they were
yeah,
drinking.
yeah. They loved it, didn't they?
So yeah, and it was just like VHS and Betamax. It's like one was going to win, which is the most cost effective, which one can we make the most money from, which is the cheapest to grow. Oh, it's coffee. So that's basically how it kind of
And possibly
went.
also, which was the most addictive.
And then we have the other side of it, yeah,
You
and what
know,
part of the
I
system that
mean,
works on,
we look
yeah.
at we look at caffeine and and schnaut, the fags
Mm,
and
mm,
alcohol and refined sugar. I mean,
mm.
they're giving it some for them, aren't they? But the good thing is
Absolutely.
we have alternatives.
Yeah.
We can switch these things out.
Hmm.
I mean, one of the things I've been having recently is obviously I have me, awaken drink me,
Mm,
cacao, raw cacao drink. And I love that.
mm.
Um, I've been eating apples, lovely sweet apples. I've even still
Nice.
got strawberries in the garden. Oh, so sweet.
Lovely.
In
Yeah.
October, I'm having
You
these.
do live in Eden because every time I go there, it's always good weather.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we've got it's yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's absolutely it's good weather here. Oh, well, I think it's
Yeah.
all the 432 vibes.
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
something actually is popping up there.
Intention.
But
It's the
the
intention.
but the way that we can bring these positive things into our lives to help bring
Mm,
about transformation. So
mm.
another string to your bow is your one-to-one work with people.
Yeah.
How's that been going?
It's been going, well, it went nuts at one point, like, and it got to a point where it was taking precedent over everything, which is great. And I love that one to one. I love helping people, but it was getting to the point where, it was like 20 odd clients a week, which is
No.
a lot, that's a lot of
Wow.
people to get through in a week.
Whoa.
And every single one I have to put on a different head, I have to be in where they
Yeah.
are and
Yeah.
meet them
Yeah.
from, so
Yeah.
I'm picking up, leaving off and what have you, which was great. It was great to be of service like that. But pretty much knew that wasn't going to be a long term thing. I just felt that, it, you know, it's not a long term solution to this because I can't possibly sustain that by myself, right? And other things were suffering as a result of it. But again, the highlight to all that was seeing change in people. Um, and when it started to kind of calm down a little bit, what I'd actually earned in that money, I'd actually invested into the cacao. So I
Right.
bought myself a trailer, and I called it Cacao Shack. And so that goes out and about to events, and private hire and stuff like that. So anyone's interested, shameless plug. Um,
No,
so-
always, mate. Kind of Sound Radio. Happy mind, happy you
Yeah,
dot
and so
com.
Cacao Shack was born, and it now I do it with the trailer, but I also do it indoors. So I've got the
Mm,
setup to be able to create that indoors, and that's serving ceremonial grade cacao to people so they can experience it,
beautiful,
without
mate.
having
Now,
to spend money on buying it, in the sense of a whole bag. They can come and have a drink and see what it's about.
so in terms of what's going on, right? Let's talk about, what's happening around the corner because people might be
Mm,
listening to this thinking, I like the cut of this guy's jib. I want to kind of taste this cacao. I want to hear
mhm.
this sound therapy. Now, are you at the Life Arts event, Colchester, Mind, Body, Spirit?
I am.
Yeah, here we go.
I
Right,
am
here we go.
there.
Because
Yes.
Chris Cousins, friend of the show. All right,
Yes.
so lifearts.co.uk. Now, this is the Friday, the 18th to the 20th this year. It's a lovely venue, just on the outskirts of Colchester in Essex. And what are you going to be doing there, Colin?
Well, I've got a few things I'm going to be doing there, Giles. So one of them is obviously the sound bath. I'm bringing the instruments with me. I'm going to do something there that I've never done in public before.
Here we go.
Um, and it's unique to me because it's kind of where I've just found that, um I wouldn't, yeah, maybe confidence or permission. I'd
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
say, where I find that permission to give myself permission to actually be heard. So I'm going to be doing something else with the sound bath there that I've never done in public before with sound baths. They had a little taster of it in the event I did, which Juliet attended last weekend, with Lauren, bless her. But yes, so I'll be doing that with the sound bath. I'll also be doing sound baths there. So I'll be doing a little bit on the stage as an example, and
Mm,
that's where I'll do
mm.
my new thing. And then there's a sound bath going to be happening as well, on that same day, I believe. And then I have the Cacao Shack. So Cacao Shack's coming. not the trailer, but we're indoors, so it's nice and warm, and everyone has a nice hot drink of cacao and get that blast of goodness and high vibe inside them as well.
Beautiful, mate.
And yes, and then the other thing I'm doing is a new venture, but I was blown away with it because this thing was responsible for me. So I do a lot of channeling, right? And channeling is where you're just tuning into all that's there, all around us, all the time, right? And everyone can do this. No one's special for this.
Mm,
But I was able to channel an album full of music, and I
mm,
wrote 12 songs in 9 days.
yeah.
And I was just blown away, just how quickly that came in, whoosh,
Mm,
and now it's gone. It's like, okay, I'll wait till the next wave comes in.
yeah.
But it was this device that I was using, which I believe was a big catapult for that opening up, just to open up a little bit more. So it's to do with neurological change. So we're creating what you call neuroplasticity in the brain, where your brain gets to learn something and it retains what it learns. So you have neuroplasticity, which retains what it learns, and you have neuroelasticity, which means it doesn't retain what it learns. It just snaps straight back to where it began.
Mm, mm,
So we focus on the neuroplasticity, and there's so much research now on neuroscience that they've managed to map out parts of the brain and how the brain's activated, and what works best for your brain to optimize it for many different things. So, for example, they we use light and sound. Yeah, so the fundamental building blocks of the
mm,
universe.
mm,
So we use light and sound, and so this we would advise people, obviously with epilepsy, not to experience this because it is flashing lights. Your eyes are
mm,
closed, and but they've managed to map out the brain now to the point of where they know what stimulates the brain in certain areas. So it uses kind of techniques such as EMDR, which is all about eye movement and moving your eyes in certain
yeah, yeah,
directions up and down. Except for your eyes are closed, but the lights flash, so it still
yeah.
activates that part of the brain. So
Got
it's
ya,
amazing.
got
Yeah, so
ya.
there's no hard work involved in this
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah.
They've even worked out how to map the brain for things like microdosing. So people that might be a bit interested in microdosing, but saying, I don't really want to touch mushrooms,
Mm, mm,
there is now an alternative to that which does the same thing.
yeah,
Um, so that's really interesting. They've now just brought out one for athletes as well. So to
yep,
create that mental focus, or actually to help the body start to repair quicker.
yep,
It's like
yep.
it's phenomenal what this thing can do. So I'm bringing that along, and it's
So
called
what? Sorry, mate.
Neuro
Yeah.
Gym Hub.
Neuro Gym Hub. So is it like there's a headset or has you got headphones or?
It is, yeah. So it's an LED, 9 LED lights that sit in front of your face,
Yeah,
and you have this like little cap thing on, and it
yeah,
just hangs in front of your face like that. Your
yeah,
eyes are closed.
yeah.
I've got a beautiful gravity chair, anti-gravity chair, so it feels like you're just floating
Wow.
in nowhere, and it includes with the headphones on, and they're very expensive
Yeah,
noise cancelling headphones, so they're the top of the range,
yeah, yeah,
and they just that all combined just is an experience that everyone that gets out of that chair says, "Whoa," because
yeah,
they weren't expecting what they received, because your eyes are closed and yet you're seeing things like geometric patterns and shapes,
yeah.
or you're having experiences, or you're having a conversation with yourself, and it's like all these amazing things happen just through stimulating with light and sound. It's absolutely phenomenal.
That's incredible, mate. Absolutely incredible. So, if people come along to the show, so
Mm.
lifearts.co.uk,
Mm.
then is it that what is it? They have a sample session, they pay for a sample. How are you working it?
Yeah, so with that one, that's on a donation basis, so people can, have an experience and donate what they feel, that they can afford, or give. But they can also book in for a full session for that. Then there's a 21. So this is 11 minutes. That's all it
Mm.
takes. It's
Mm, mm,
absolutely
mm.
amazing. But there's
Yeah,
a 5 minute one, but there's an 11-minute one, which is what I primarily give people. But we can extend that to 21 minutes because there's other things either side of that.
yeah.
But you can integrate that with different versions of it, so it works on different parts of the brain. So you kind of open the brain up to susceptibility, then you put the alternative thing in, and then you reinforce that with a third one. So yeah,
Sounds
it's got
incredible, mate. I tell you, Juliet
mm,
today has been with
yeah.
our friends Kerry and Simon, and she's just bought this. They've just got this like egg thing, this cosmic egg,
Mm.
and it's this sound and light thing, and you actually go in it, and it's like shaped like an egg.
I know it. I've
Yeah,
seen it, and I want one.
but
I
save you.
really,
I tell you what, you have to bang out some of them
I-
sessions, mate. I'll
I'd
tell you off
say
air. I'll tell you
it's
off
an
air how much
investment,
they
isn't
paid
it?
for it. Ooh.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
but
know.
it's what the point is.
Mm,
These things are coming to people, and it's almost like at the time of the greatest need. This 432 sound
hmm.
healing. This the
Hmm.
Ho'oponopono, the cacao, the superfoods, that this technology, this positive technology, is
Yeah.
coming to people. And I'd even like to say, Colin, that at the time of great need, kind of sound like I wouldn't even say a phoenix, you know, but
Mm.
just like a beautiful force of love and healing and wisdom and kindness is spreading out again. And it's wonderful to have you on kind of sound
Hmm.
radio again,
Good to
my
be back.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think we can do something very special with it. Just like I always do like to give a shout out to Hugh Gallagher, the founder of Kind of Sound, who had that original vision,
Mm.
getting on for 4.5 years ago. And he said, let's have a radio station with global presenters dedicated to kindness. Sounded like a good idea to me. Sounds like a good idea today. And I
Mm.
know, we're going to do something special with it. So, Hugh, if you're listening, and I've been sending him the recent episodes, Colin, because he's traveling around Europe.
He's
So
amazing.
he's
I love
probably
him.
driving in his van in Bulgaria. He's got this on his headphones. But wherever you are, kind of sounders, we're sending you love. So just to finish off, Colin, just a few quick
Yeah.
ones. So we know what you're up to right now. It's absolutely fantastic, right?
Hmm.
Have you got a vision? Let's say, I don't know, a couple of years or 5 years, or in
Mm.
it for yourself, where
Mm.
you'd like to be, what you'd like to be seeing in the world, maybe.
Yeah, I think my website's kind of reflecting that a little bit of where I'm going with it, where I want to be able to offer up these very interesting new
Mm.
concepts of technology, for example, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like we're not moving away from technology,
yeah.
but we could really use it to enhance our experience here. And I think the merging of that, and this has been said for many, many years, when science and spirituality come together, that's when we see this big jump. And I think all what's happening is a moment is there's a lot of fear mongering to keep us away from the technology, because I think certain eyes and ears may know that that would create some form of mass awakening. And obviously for other reasons, like literally I had my whole Facebook deleted recently. The whole thing gone.
Well, I mean,
No reason, no message, no
kind of sound
warning,
knows
no
that as
nothing.
well. Kind of sound
Yeah.
knows that as well. Because for 2 years,
Mm.
Facebook banned Kind of Sound Radio. A radio. Now listen to this for a minute. A radio station dedicated to kindness. They
Yeah.
just banned. And if you put kindofsound.org, if you put it in a link, it would just, block the post and everything. And I
Yeah.
heard this, Colin. I mean, I'm personally not on Facebook. Meta can
Yeah.
do one as far as I'm concerned. But it's like for you putting out inspirational content about healing and
Mm.
well-being.
Mm.
And Juliet told me this. She said they just totally did him, and with no, you know, what's the
The
what's
only
the
message, the only message I got from Facebook was we're also canceling your PayPal link for any ads that you may want to use. It's like that is it. That's all you're going to message me. Like, not that we've actually cancelled. It doesn't say cancelled. It says disabled.
yeah,
Disabled. We've disabled your account. So other people have suspensions and all the rest of it. It's nothing like that. It's literally been disabled. It's
yeah.
the whole thing's gone, and
Take
I can't get it back.
take it as a badge of honor, mate, because
Well, it means, yeah, it means I've pushed some buttons somewhere, right?
it means just it probably
You know,
means you're spread. It probably means you're spreading the love, quite frankly.
yeah. Well, it goes against
But
community standards because if you're spreading too much love and light,
too much
it'll have the
love.
opposite effect.
But
Yeah.
this is where platforms like Kind of Sound are so important.
Yeah.
and
Mm.
happymindhappyyou.com, ladies and gentlemen. Colin, just
Mm.
final words to you, my friend.
Well, you asked the question like, where do I see myself? Do I have a vision
Mm.
for the next few years? And I do, and I said it kind of reflects through the website. But I want Happy Mind, Happy Mind You to grow. I want it to expand into something beautifully huge. And I see that vision, and I've had that vision for many, many years. And there's one other company that does something similar to the vision I have, but it's not on the same level. It's on a completely different level. And I see it and I want it to become global. That takes investment because I can't do this by myself. And it takes people coming on board with it as well, because I don't think I should be just doing this myself now.
Yeah.
I think I've come to that realization that this needs to be more family orientated, in the sense of people coming together and we work this together. Because I see a huge vision. I don't have the resources, the finances, the time to put into what needs to be created, but I think something beautiful could be created from this idea, this concept. And so yeah, I would love for it to now start seeing people wanting to come on board with that, and see it grow, because it has beautiful potential.
Wonderful, mate. And I think if we can hold that vision and be in the love, the
Mm-hmm.
vibration reaches out, but we also need that broadcast, and Kind of Sound Radio, I know, is part of that. We can
Mm-hmm.
send these messages out. So if you like the cut of Colin's jib, ladies and gentlemen, and you think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's have a happy mind, happy you world with some of these technologies and ideas,
Mm-hmm.
then do get in contact with Colin. Now,
You
look,
can still catch me on Instagram, by the way.
oh,
I do still
oh,
have the
really?
Instagram. Yeah,
Here we go. So, so
that's
how
still
do they
going.
find you on the old Insta?
Happy mind underscore happy happy underscore mind underscore happy underscore you underscore, I believe.
Well,
If you search happy mind happy, you'll find me.
yeah, happy mind, happy you. Go to the
Look for the
website and
heart
follow.
with a smile.
Go to the website, follow the links. That might be the easiest. Well, look, we
Yeah.
are going to play out now with a bit of music. This is 432 Hertz music.
Mm.
It's the latest release of the Perpetual Choirs from the Unity album. It is the 108 ohms didgeridoo mix. Colin Wyatt, you are a legend. I look forward to talking to you some more, mate. And
It
let's
takes
make
one
these
to
things
know one.
happen. And we I know you got a good night coming out tonight as well. Should we just give a very brief shout out? You out
Oh
in
yeah,
at
I'm gonna go
Cradle?
for something to eat this evening. I've booked my place. I'm having a self date night.
Self
So I'm
date night.
dating myself, and yeah, I'm off to Cradle tonight in Sudbury. So Cradle is this amazing shop that only sells organic, plant-based food. Everything about it is organic, but they sell the most amazing sourdough bread and the cakes. Oh my God, it's just heaven in there, all right?
Yeah.
And so, but on a Friday night, they actually open it up to work late. So they give you like you get your table, and it's your table from 7 o'clock till 11 o'clock.
I tell you what, mate, I know there's going to be some friends you're making tonight. All
I
right,
think
Colin.
so.
God bless you,
Yeah.
mate.
God
Thanks
bless
for
you too. Thank you so much, Giles, for inviting me on. I really
yeah.
appreciate you.
Let's make
Yeah.
it happen, man. Let's do
Yeah.
this for Kind of Sound. See you soon. And
Indeedy.
here is
Take